Welcome everybody to the Roundtable Friends. I'm Dave Flores, and tonight we have a special guest. Our guest is Bruce Hill, who's right across the table from me. Welcome, Bruce.
Thank you. Welcome.
And we're going to talk about some news articles here in the North County first, and then we're going to come back and have an interview with Bruce about real estate auctions. He's an expert at it, and I know it's going to be real exciting, interesting to talk with him about this. So our first story tonight is a pretty serious one. It's kind of glows in the dark if you're not careful. It's the San Onofre nuclear plant situation. As you know, they decommissioned that plant, and now they're dealing with canisters that are filled with radioactive waste. They're burying those canisters near the coast. And, it's sort of a political football in a way, and it's taking a long time, and there's some frustrations going on. So tonight's spotlight is on the San Onofre nuclear waste, and then we'll have another feature on news, which is North County's inland and coastal economic contrasts. Is it a tale of two cities? We'll find out. We'll find out. Okay, so let's get right into this. We're going to start with San Onofre. The first thing I want to do is just talk about San Onofre itself. And we have a little video here that we want to kick off to start this. And it's all about how the nuclear industry got started with our attitudes towards it. And we should go ahead and roll that one, Rich.
The power of the atom, greatest source of energy man has ever discovered, is now serving in many ways, from atomic submarines and ships to nuclear fuel generation of electric power. Planning ahead for California's growing electric needs, PG&E, in partnership with General Electric, has had Vallecito's atomic power plant in operation since the fall of '57. Its license from the Atomic Energy Commission was the very first one issued. Now we're building a much larger atomic electric plant to begin operation in 1962 at Humboldt Bay near Eureka. Today, atomic electricity costs more than conventional power in the United States, but at PG&E's Eureka plant, engineers expect to break this cost barrier and become the first in America to achieve economic atomic electricity. Creative engineering, research, and pioneering development like this help keep your PG&E service your best bargain.
Yeah, those were the days. Our best bargain. And now SDG&E, of course, is laying out all the new plans for everybody to deal with. But getting back to the nuclear energy issue, I want to just run a quick timeline for you about San Onofre. 1967, San Onofre Unit 1, California's first large commercial nuclear reactor, begins operating. So we go back to '67. Close to when that video was made. Then, 1973, a non-nuclear mechanical failure leads to a 13-week shutdown of the plant. 1982, Unit 2 is granted an operating license, comes online in August. 1984, Unit 3 begins commercial operations. 1988, California Coastal Commission finds dramatic declines in marine life near the plant. Duh. I mean, all of that hot water going through those, the water going through the reactors, being taken out to sea, you would think for sure that would be obvious. It would affect the marine life. And it certainly did. So, what they said was, you have to do an environmental project to help repair the damage. So, 1992, costs lead to permanent shutdown of Unit 1. 2006, construction begins on an $86 million San Dieguito Lagoon project to help make up for those damages we just talked about to the marine environment. 2009 rolls around, now we're getting more recent. September 26, operators shut down the northern reactor known as Unit 2. It's taken offline for a planned outage to refuel and to replace 2 of the 65-foot tall steam generators. You remember those along the coast. At least I think I remember those. I mean, these huge stacks with the steam coming out. The NRC places San Onofre on a regulatory regime, if you will, slapping their hands, orders changes after an investigation reveals that the staff had misconduct. Boy, that's not what we want at a nuclear plant, is misconduct at a plant. 2011 rolls around. Unit 3 is back online. 2012, Unit 2 is now shut down as costs skyrocket. 2013, Southern California Edison announces, we're done. We're going to close the plant. Now, that's just a brief history of San Onofre. So obviously, those days of, promise and low cost and all of this came to a head. Okay, so now what? They get the thing torn down. Mike Levin, who's one of our congressmen in North County. We have 2 congressmen. We have the coastal area with Mike Levin. We have the inland area with Duncan Hunter. And of course, they're on different sides of the political aisle. At any rate, he did a tour of the plant just recently, and he was discussing a 2018 incident where they were lowering canisters into the hole in the ground they've dug there near the ocean, and one of them got stuck. It got stuck in midair, dangling 18 feet above the ground for an hour, just helplessly dangling. And it's like, folks, this is nuclear waste here. Can you imagine if you were near that canister? If you were, let's say you were sitting on it. Not a good idea. But I'm just, imagination. So I'm sitting on it. I'm looking around. I'm looking at the freeway. I'm looking at, I'm looking at all the people around it. And that was dangerous. So Levin's got a good point. He came in and he tried to discuss it with the officials at that site. And they said, oh, no, we can't discuss that. That's going to take a whole nother, procedure to even talk about this. All right. So what he said, and I think I want to make sure we understand what he said. He says, I'm going to go back to Washington to introduce a bill that, if enacted, requires the Department of Energy to consider 3 criteria for expediting getting waste from one place to another to get it out of the area. The first criteria would be the operating status of the plant. Well, this one's decommissioned, so that should be obvious that it's not working anymore, so that's one. Second criteria, how much population density around the plant? Well, Levin noted that there are 8.3 million people living within a 50-mile radius of the San Onofre facility. That's a lot of people. The third criteria? Oh, you'll like this. Look at the potential earthquake risk. Now, here in California, obviously, there are 2 active faults close to this plant that can affect it, but there's many others that were considered inactive. I'm using the word were. Lately, scientists are coming up with a new map of California faults. A lot of them are active, way more than we thought. So this really brings this, in my opinion, to, a pretty important juncture here. We need to be able to get this waste away from our North County. I think everybody agrees with that. The other thing is we need Mike Levin and we need Duncan Hunter to help us do that. They're both in the House of Representatives representing North County. So how do we do that? Part of this, well, first of all, let's just talk about one more thing, and that is Yucca Mountain in Nevada. Let's talk about Yucca Mountain, because where is this stuff going to go? Yucca Mountain, let's talk about that. Yucca Mountain in Nevada was selected to become the nation's permanent repository for waste in 1987. The government spent $15 billion. And the thing about the word billion, I like to do it in terms of 1,000 millions. So let's see, $1 billion is 1,000 million, right? So 15,000 millions were spent to study this area. That's a lot of money. But apart from that, later, the Obama administration stopped that approval process because of local Nevada politicians and citizens who were concerned. Rightly so, I would think. If you're living near that, nobody wants to be near nuclear waste for sure. And the Trump administration and other congressional leaders are now favoring reviving the Yucca Mountain Plan. But here's the whole thing. The process to move the waste, we're told, is around 10 years. It's a long time. So, moving the canisters doesn't take that long, obviously, but apparently the approval process we're looking at is 10 years. So we're in for a long slog here. That wasn't a good term, huh? Sorry. Okay, we're in for a long haul, if you will, to get this resolved. But we do have a board up that we'd like you to see. See, you go, hey, I don't even know how to get a hold of my congressman. Well, it's not that hard. We've got Mike Levin on the coastal area, 760-599-9000. And then we have Duncan Hunter on the inland portion, 951-695-5108. But here, folks, tell you what, you don't need to know where the dividing line is for North County, okay? Call either one of them. Better yet, call both of them. And just say, we've heard about this, and we want action in Washington. We want you guys to work together. This isn't party lines. This is people. So that's my plea. That's my plea. What do you think? Was I going too far with that?
Not at all, really. You could go farther with Yucca.
Yeah, let's talk about Yucca. You had some interesting facts about that.
Well, I had a brother-in-law who worked there for a number of years as an engineer. Mm-hmm. And this is a while back now, so bear with me.
Sure.
I was told they were shutting it down because Nevada was very concerned about it being too close to an aquifer, the Colorado River.
Oh, there you go.
And they had no way of determining that it wouldn't be a problem.
Oh.
And that's much as I know, but it was very alarming.
That is alarming.
Yeah.
Well, of course, the Colorado River, supplies California with water too, right?
Yeah, right.
So, rightly so. It's not an easy, I don't want to just be here criticizing everybody involved because, they're people just like we are. They don't want, nuclear waste to be contaminating any of the population. None of us do. So let's root for the team. Okay, Duncan and Mike.
Right.
Those are our guys right now. Okay, so at any rate, thanks for your input on that. That's interesting. Yeah, aquifer. See, so there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. All right, now we're going to talk about the North County economy. Is it a tale of two cities? The coastal area, the inland area. We just talked about our congressional districts, and those are divided as such. But yet, North County seems to just be one smooth area to live and enjoy. If you're in Escondido, whether you're in Vista, whether you're in Oceanside, whether you're in Encinitas or Carlsbad, we all feel like we're in the same boat here, if you will. More boats on the coast, though, right? Well, we drive our boats from Escondido out there. At any rate, so let's talk about some statistics that were very interesting. There's a new study out, and we want to see that up there. There's a slide with, there we go. The median household income in North County, let's talk about this. This is a fresh study, is $85,000 annually. So that sounds about right. Now, let's divide it up. The inland area from San Marcos to Borrego Springs, theirs is $62,000 annual. And the southwest coast area, Del Mar to Encinitas, which we'll refer to as the coast, $122,000 annual. Now that seems to make sense because obviously to live on the coast is a lot more expensive, and rightly so. You're out there looking at the ocean. You can get up every day, and just there's nothing more beautiful than that coastline. Now, what about education? We have the K-12 educational statistics. Over 56% of inland North County students qualify for a free lunch. Only 12% of the southwest coastal area qualify for free lunch. Stands to reason again. I mean, it goes hand in hand with the annual incomes. I mean, really, the coastal is double that of the inland. Let's go down the list a little more. 70% of southwest coastal ages 25 to 64 have a bachelor degree or better in the education sector. Yet less than 30% of the inland North County ages 25 to 64 have that kind of equivalent education. So there is a difference. Now, we do have the Palomar College and some of the other colleges in the North County, and young people are taking advantage of the college studies, but our college debt is in the trillions now in the United States. Makes you wonder whether or not that's just the way it's going. But again, it does correlate to income, I would think. No scientific there. I'm just speculating. But what about the average home price? And of course, our guest Bruce is a broker, and he's very knowledgeable on the whole area of real estate and housing. Average home price in North County, $770,000 and change. Average home price on the southwest coastal area, $1.2 million plus. So again, everything seems to be riding hand in hand as far as income levels and everything else. Do any of those stats surprise you at all, or would you have any comment on them?
I was a little surprised at the 1.2 million. I thought that kind of surprised me. I didn't think it was that high, honestly. And the income here in our part of the county being 62,000 seems low, just from the cost of living kind of thing. But now I'm getting an idea of why people are having such a difficult time qualifying for the bare minimum housing here to buy a house. There's nothing for sale in North County in our area for less than $500,000.
Yeah.
You can't buy a house for $500,000 on a $62,000 income.
Yeah. What do you think? What is the qualifier there? Would it have to be 100,000 or 150, or hard to say probably?
Well, the government is very, very generous on FHA loans. You can be 65% obligated on your gross monthly income to qualify for a $620,000 loan.
Really?
Now, you can't live that way, but that they'll make you that loan.
But the numbers are doing that. Is that, I don't want to be a spoiler here, but is that sort of parallel to maybe before our last situation where we had an issue? Or, I mean, we're, with the loans and, sort of like you say, I mean, we'll do it, but it's not realistic,
It's a real problem. I was in the mortgage business for 35 years, and I really
my.
faced that issue in 2008.
Okay.
It became ridiculous what they were loaning, how they were loaning money.
I see.
And it's scary because of the fact that you can't buy a house for less than $500,000, single family, and they don't exist, by the way. So
Yeah.
what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, you're right. Well, they call it a housing crisis.
It is very much so not going to get any better.
Well, what about the backyard thing with the granny flat liberation on the costs for permits and things like that?
I think that the state is taking a very interesting review of that. Escondido, I believe, already had one in line where they allowed garage conversions. Problem, I think, is that one of the big problems is parking.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my.
Because they're reducing parking restrictions, too.
I see. Yeah. Parking is an issue out here as it is, right? I mean, just regardless of housing, I mean, just everywhere it seems. even here in our parking lot at the studio, you know, we struggle for space. I mean, there's just so many cars. But this has to do with people, though, right? One car for every person, almost, if you're over 18.
Well, there's an apartment complex near where I live, and in the last couple of years, all of a sudden, they're parking all over the streets, like they do in Claremont.
Right.
And I asked myself, well, why? Maybe they're renting too many people to the apartment.
Ah, which could tie into the high rents.
Oh, they're terrible. $1,800 for a one bedroom? I mean,
oh my.
Good heaven's sakes.
You know, maybe we'll do a GoFundMe for us. Please donate to us so we can afford to rent and then drive our car and stay on the TV. No way. No one's going to do that. No free rides around here. Well, you're right. It's getting to that point, but we have to have heart and we have to stay upbeat about this because we live in one of the most beautiful areas in the world. Some of us, like myself, who aren't well traveled, hear enough stories to know, stay put, hunker down, you're in the right place, the right time, and hang in there. We hope that the market will somehow correct itself. We are in a, quote, free market, and we hope that we're going to see some improvement. But we got to move on, though. I mean, you're so interesting on this topic that I had to take extra time. Okay, now we're going to look at some more upbeat news, and this is on small businesses. A study along the corridor of Highway 78, which, by the way, look at all those cars, Bruce. Man, that looks like a typical evening, right, out on Highway 78. Boy, I remember when it was a two-laner. You do too.
Yeah, I do.
He's older than me. He's older than me. Okay, here's the thing. More than 80% of the small businesses along this state route corridor, 78, expect to grow financially over the next 2 years, according to a study just released by the San Diego Regional Economic Development Corporation and the Innovate 78 Group. According to the study, 85% of these businesses in cities like Carlsbad, Escondido, Vista, along the corridor, expect to see financial growth in the near future. Half of these businesses expect to add employees in the next 2 years. So this is great news for North County. I mean, in the sense we're talking about the parking and, you know, the high rents and all this, but yet we still have dynamic growth in the economy here. And it makes you feel upbeat about it a little bit. You're not looking upbeat. Now, there he
I
smiles.
read a little bit too much maybe sometimes. But,
in the tea leaves.
well, yeah, it's kind of scary.
Well, you know, the thing is, I've always looked at the glass half full instead of half empty, but I'm going to look at my cup. It's
What
a
do you
quarter.
see?
It's 75% empty. All right, now I'm starting to think like Bruce. All right, no, but I still say let's keep a good demeanor about this, and let's be kind to each other on the roads, and let's help somebody if we can. You know, we all want to live here in North County and enjoy it as much as we can, and I know that people deep down want to do that. So let's talk about something really upbeat, and that's Cruisin' Grand. Yeah, Cruisin' Grand in Escondido. It's on Friday nights at 5 o'clock. You want to get there early? It's a great place to go and relax. And by the way, parking isn't so bad over there. There's a lot of parking lots. It's free parking. And but we do recommend that you get there early. Oh boy. Yeah, we were back. That was my favorite video. Living better through nuclear energy. You know, I went into that. I like that, you know. But at any rate, we want you to join us at Cruisin' Grand. The North County SD Live channel that you're watching now on Facebook or YouTube, we go out there and we broadcast live from the Cruisin' Grand. And it's so cool. We run into the most interesting people, great cars, kids, families, and then, you know, you got the older folks sitting around talking about the old days. You know, last week we ran into a couple of guys. They were, you know, probably in their late 60s, and they were high school buddies. and they are car collectors, and they pitched in together and built this wonderful hot rod, and oh my, yeah, just a great place. So we're having fun. So we want you to join us out there. Fridays, 5 o'clock, Grand Avenue, Escondido. Don't miss it. Well, we're going to be back with our guest, Bruce Hill, right after this commercial message from our sponsors. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. RC Video Productions.
Quiz Show Mania is San Diego's best kept secret in live entertainment. Quiz Show Mania. Great for shopping malls, schools, company parties, special events, church groups, team building, and seminars, because it's fun for all ages. Quiz Show Mania will work with you every step of the way to customize your experience and value.
Which of Earth's 5 oceans is the smallest?
Indian?
No.
Red?
No. Arctic.
Quiz Show Mania is San Diego's best kept secret in live entertainment.
Attract more people to your business with a custom video commercial. RC Video Productions is an Escondido company specializing in marketing video for both small and large businesses. Advertising in print with local coupon books, magazines, and newspapers isn't nearly as effective as reaching customers who stare at their smartphone all day. Let us help you reach them with your own custom video commercial. Along with high-quality video, RC Video Productions employs social media marketing strategies when producing video commercials to increase visibility and interest in your business. If you own a restaurant, coffee shop, retail store, yoga studio, or offer a service such as phone or auto repair, we have a package price tailored to your business. RC Video Productions can also handle the complete campaign from strategy to production to digital distribution. Contact us now to book a meeting or schedule a shoot and receive $100 off. Put your advertising message directly in front of your potential customer with RC Video Productions.
Yeah, RC Video Productions. I had a good idea for that, Rich. RC Video Productions. Why not have like a free case of RC Cola with every new order? What? Oh, I got to buy it? Yeah. Oh, okay. All right, well, that's what I get. I'll do it. I'll do it. Free RC, case of RC Cola. No, Rich does great work, you guys, as you know. And, of course, he's up behind the controls right now as we speak here at our Vista studio. So we have our special guest, Bruce Hill. And, Bruce, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
And we had talked a while back about your career and also about real estate auctions, which really caught my fancy, if you will, because, I always think of auctions like, hey, do I hear 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, that kind of thing. What's a real estate auction?
It's the same thing.
It really is, huh? Okay, sold American. The thing, oh man, in a market like this, well, first of all, can you just explain to us how the real estate auction process works here in San Diego?
Sure. First of all, it's worldwide. More houses are sold worldwide on auction than not, mainly because there isn't a natural multiple listing service that would cover that large an area. So they, city by city, country by country, they've been doing auctioning for over hundreds of years.
Wow.
Here in the United States, it's only been going on for about 5 years. One company in particular brought it here from Australia, has made it quite successful. It does follow the economy quite a bit. It is not the panacea for selling houses, but it is a good alternative if you understand how it works. If you compare it to the normal multiple listing service, list it for a price and then hope someone comes along to buy it, if you market that correctly, you can market it the same way you do an auction. The difference is how you start from price and how you get people to want to participate in the auction. What are you doing to get them to pay attention to it?
Interesting. So now you've got two sides to a transaction, obviously. You've got a buyer and a seller. Right. They both have their own needs. You know, how would an auction, I guess, could you explain what does a buyer look for and what does a seller look for in an auction that's better than the standard procedures?
Okay. From a seller's point of view, he does not want to tell you how much he will take for his property. He hopes that the correct marketing will encourage the buyer to bid up to a price that he's satisfied with.
There you go.
Now, in these auctions, they're not absolute auctions. It's a controlled environment where the seller has a reserve price that he tells the auctioneer the morning of the auction, based upon the marketing that has taken place, what he will take for his property at the auction. Okay?
Right.
The buyers are looking at, obviously, what does it take to buy the property and how did they arrive at what they're going to want to do. So you have to have a buyer who is qualified and a buyer who can prove he's qualified, either by proving he has cash or proving he has a loan. So that he has to, in order to buy, and he has to put up a deposit too.
So just to participate, the buyer has to put up or be quiet.
Yeah, he can't just raise his hand in an auction. He has to be ready to buy.
Right,
and he puts up his hefty deposit to be able to come to the auction and have a paddle to be able to raise it up to make a bid, because it's a non-contingent transaction. It's sold. It's sold.
Sold American.
That's right. Now, there's a lot to selling a house that you have to go through all the hoops of, and in an auction, you go through those hoops and do all the approvals prior to the auction.
So it's a final outcome, basically.
Absolutely is.
There it is.
Yes,
boom.
it is. Yep.
Done. Now that would seem attractive to both parties, you would think.
Yes, it is. It's really the way that you should look at selling any kind of real estate. You should, before you make an offer, you should know what you're buying and the values to it, the condition of the property, everything that you have 15 days after you make a buy offer on a standard transaction to decide on, you decide prior to.
Now you think about people who move from other areas out here to our area, North County in particular, where they're coming from other states and that sort of thing. And maybe they've only had one home, you know, for most of their life. And, you know, so they're not attuned to, you know, buying and selling real estate. So they come in and they really need the guidance from the agent and the broker to guide them through this. Now, would you say there's, let's say a novice, a total novice, would they be better off with an auction or with an agent, or is there a difference?
Well, when they meet an agent, they come from another area, they know no one. Maybe they've had a referral from another realty in another part of the country who's referred an agent locally.
Right.
The agent should sit down with them and counsel with them as to the market here, who they are, what they anticipate, what do they know. In other words, get to know them and help them understand what's going on here so they can make a decision. Otherwise, they won't make one. So if an agent is familiar with, if he sees a listing that is an auction listing, and an auction listing says it's an auction listing, and I can go into what the difference between that and a standard listing from what you see coming in. If he explains to them how that works and the positiveness about what they're going to be able to know about the property before they venture into it, then they just have to have the wherewithal to be able to think, well, I'll stand up and face the other prospective buyer and bid against him.
Interesting.
If they're willing to do that,
interesting.
Then they can have their agent do it for them.
Right.
or they can do it themselves. It's done in a room like this, much bigger, but
You know, we're hoping that we can get permission to get video of an auction at some
I will
point.
work on that. I'm sure it won't be
Yeah.
hard to do.
I hope not.
I have some connections that will do that.
Well,
for
thank you, because I think people would be educated on this.
Sure.
And our purpose really to talk about real estate auctions is to educate. And I think we can play a role in this. And with Bruce's knowledge, obviously, he was the right man at the right time, with the right job, with the right hairdo.
Right here.
Love that hairdo he's got.
Well, the beard is a little contest between me and my friends, you know. And we have coffee every morning, and we got to kidding each other, and so this is how it got started, you know. So this is about 2 weeks old, and I'm not sure it's going to stay. But
Maynard G. Krebs, man, looking good.
my wife says she likes it. But she loves me too, so you know.
Well, you're a fortunate man, that's for sure. Well, you know, the real estate auction business, I'm sure, is going to continue to thrive and grow, and we hope that Bruce will come back at some point and enlighten us some more about real estate here in North County, because it is definitely a changing, moving target in some ways as far as prices go, and qualifying and this sort of thing. So, what do you think, Bruce? Let's say if I just asked you, what on a scale of 1 to 100, how would you rate the market right now in terms of desirability for both buyer and seller?
It's a really tough market, because has been happening over time is that prices have been going up 5-6% a year for several years.
Right.
That's no longer the case. But a seller or a buyer, they don't know that. The market has always been driven by the previous sale. The seller seeing a previous sale wants a little bit more. They always want a little bit more, and they're so used to that they have no problem asking for more. The problem becomes affordability. It becomes it's just not plain not worth it, you know.
Right,
you know,
right.
But if you want to live here, you're going to have to pay the price. It's very rudely true. You have to pay the price. You know?
Did that happen in Hawaii, do you think? I mean, I'm just
yes.
speculating. It did? It got so desirable and there wasn't enough supply that the demand drove the prices way.
Demand always drives prices, and when demand slows down, prices will slow down.
Right.
And that'll happen here. They could
Eventually.
reverse. No, they could actually reverse.
Reverse?
Well, if you haven't got enough buyers who can afford the house, you're not going to be able to sell it. And we have a lot of expired listings. We'd be surprised at the number of expired listings. And they only expire for one reason: they were overpriced.
Right. The market was telling. That's one thing about a free market, right? It tells you
Very quickly.
through certain signals. You
Yeah.
know.
I wrote a book about that.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and I'm just having it printed now, as a matter of fact, about how an expired listing party can still sell their property, and why it didn't sell, and what caused it to
Really?
be expired. You know, in other words, sellers don't really know much about pricing or about marketing,
Right.
or about why things don't happen. They just know
Right.
they're upset when it didn't happen, and
Right.
and they look around, who can I blame, kind of thing,
Well,
which is
yeah.
normal. I mean, we don't,
Sure.
you know, you
Yeah,
gotta
we all do that.
You got to be okay with that idea, you know.
You got to be a little tough-skinned about
Well,
it. Right?
you know, hold
the
their
market
hand.
speaks. It really, you know, the market has the final say.
It does. People will go through more than one brokerage firm to try to obtain the price they thought they should get.
Right.
It's a rude awakening when they still don't get it.
Right.
You know, that's sad.
Well, I've been hearing this on the radio with some of the ads, like, you know, I'll sell your home, and if I don't, I'll pay the difference and stuff like this.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like it's getting a little bit gimmicky out there in some of these areas. I don't know. What do you think?
You can't do that. You have to be able to buy it below market to do that, because you have heavy costs in selling. You know,
Yeah.
you really do. I have these people who are flippers come to me, and they say, take the whole commission to buy it for me. I won't take anything, and I'll give you a full commission to sell it for me. That's a lot of money.
That is.
And then they have to fix it up. You know, because they're doing fixers. So many people can't afford to maintain their properties.
Right.
If you walk through a neighborhood like I do frequently, you'd be shocked at the condition of houses, lack of maintenance.
Well, and that most of that is it affordability? I mean, it's not pride of ownership, is it? Or
I've talked to an awful lot of people who bought in the 90s who really are stretching to stay there.
I see.
And if you, so many houses have wood exteriors.
Right.
And wood needs maintenance.
It does.
And when you knock on doors, when I knock on doors, I'm looking at the condition of the house as I'm walking up to it going, oh boy, here's $8-10 grand, and they haven't got it. I'll tell you right now, they don't have it.
No, they don't.
The whole idea of how do you sell a house is how do you put your best foot forward.
Now, does your book address these things?
Yes, it does. It does.
What's the name of your book?
Well, it's called Expired. It's
Maybe
a tricky name. Okay, Expired. A formula to sell any home, even the hard to sell ones.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a. This is a.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Proof,
That's cool. What is that? Is that your card? Or
no, but I was thinking this is the proof I got the other day before printing.
Oh, okay.
And I printed it for you. I sent it to you.
Let me see.
And then I just folded it, and I thought that'd make a clever card. I can put stuff on the inside, or I can make it a just double card.
That's cute.
Right? It's kind of cute.
You look so clean shaven here.
I know, and that's
you look like a televangelist.
It's an older photograph.
Look at him now.
My buddies kid me about the fact that I'm using an old photograph. Well, the point is I don't photograph well.
Here's the thing. I wish if I could, I'd use an old photograph, but this is video.
Yeah, right.
So I'm stuck.
I keep looking at that monitor. Thinking,
I know. We're looking at it.
There's the truth.
Yeah. Where's Jaja when you need her? Oh, boy. Okay, so this is all good. And Bruce, again, Bruce Hill, Expired. Formula to sell any home, even hard to sell homes.
I give that book away to people who express an interest in knowing more about that.
Yeah.
I just pay for it.
Well, oh, really? Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Okay, so Bruce, I guess I should probably put in a plug for you. I mean, hey, Bruce is available to people out there. I mean, you've seen the wisdom of this man. And if you want to contact him, what's a good way to contact you that's easy to remember, Bruce?
My phone number.
Okay. What's your phone number?
760-593-9833. 593-9833.
760. Call now. Operators are standing by. That's your wife, right?
If you Google me, you'll see all kinds of stuff about me, too.
Bruce Hill.
Yeah, right.
All right. He's not over the hill. He's Bruce Hill.
Right.
I'm over the hill. The Over the Hill gang. That's what we are. Okay. Well, at any rate, we appreciate your time. And again, wish you the best on this. And hopefully we will get back at some point with some real estate auction video. Bruce is going to try to help us with that. So we may see him back here sooner than later. So at any rate, I guess we're at that time where we've just consumed billions of kilobits and bytes and everything else on the internet. And we hope that it's been of some value to you here on the Round Table Friends. And don't forget, Cruising Grand Friday. We'll see you all out there. And thanks to Rich again, at Rich Cruz, at Rich RC Productions, Video Productions, and Quiz Show Mania for being our sponsors. So until next time, Dick Clark used to do that. You know what I should do is get a fake pompadour. No? Bye, everybody. Thanks. No, you don't. You keep that beard.
My wife loves it, but she's really kind.